Hi, and welcome to this month's Mortgage Broker broadcast. My guest this month is Lucy Knott, or Lucy Knott, who's a mortgage broker. And the reason why I wanted to get Lucy onto the podcast, she's been doing quite a lot recently in terms of, which she'll talk about with regards to leasehold reform and things like that, which she will talk about. So I won't even talk about that in the introduction. But I wanted to get Lucy onto the podcast. She's been a mortgage broker now for 3 or so years, and I've sort of connected with her on LinkedIn. We sort of, I see a post, what she's doing. She's very open, very honest, very transparent. And I just thought she'd be a great guest on the podcast to talk about her journey into financial services, how she balances sort of like work life and home life with her daughter, and just what she's passionate about, what she cares about. And yeah, just experiences and challenges she's faced, why she went self-employed, because I think she went straight into self-employed as a mortgage broker, not going down the employed then self-employed route. So she talks about that and why she made those choices, and just things about what she's passionate about. But yeah, it was just really good to interview her, just to get which is exactly what I expected, that she gave a real sort of true, honest account of herself and was very passionate about what she's done, what she's achieved, and what she does. So yeah, let's just get Lucy onto the podcast. So welcome onto the podcast, Lucia. How are you?
I'm fine. Nervous,
Good. Did I
but
pronounce that right?
we've just had a little chat, so I'm calming down now. Much better, thank you.
Good, good. That's it. The podcast is very relaxed, very informal. We're
Mm.
just here to get to know you a bit more about you and your background and your journey and the future and things like that. So don't worry, just they're quite relaxed and informal. So yeah, I think it just finds it better that way. So I'm pronouncing it right first of all, Lucia. You're not Italian or anything like that background with anything different going on.
No, which is
Right.
why I tell most people to just say Lucy, because it's easier to pronounce, easier to spell, easier to remember.
So, all right. So you use Lucy. Is that what you use day in, day out?
Mostly, yeah. Most people. When people call me Lucia now, I think I've done something wrong. So
Right, I'm
yeah.
going to call you Lucy then. So if I call you Lucy, I then now know you're even more relaxed. So
Yeah.
it's so yeah. And when I do the introduction to the podcast, I will call you Lucy, not then. Right, that'll make it sort of and then now know. So thanks for clarifying that. So first of all, for those people that don't know you, don't know who you are, and not seen anything on social media about you, do you want to just give a brief introduction about who you are?
So well, I'm Lucy. I'm a mortgage broker from Southend in Essex. I'm a mother of one, massive sasspot. She's 9 years old, just turned 9 years old, and you think she was going on to 29. And I can't be mad at her because her vocabulary is amazing. She's extremely articulate, and I have no idea where she even gets that from. But I really struggle to tell her to calm it down, and at the same time, I don't want her to calm it down because I want her to be opinionated and comfortable in her surroundings. But it makes it so much harder to parents sometimes, you know, when you really want to shout at them, but you can't because it's you're basically shouting at yourself. So yeah, that is basically my life. I help people with mortgages. I try and calm my own child down. I do the school runs. I'm just a normal working mum.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll take the normal at this stage, but I'm sure there's nothing normal about sort of what you do day in, day out. So we're going to obviously explore about you in terms of mortgage broking, maybe not touch too much on your parenting, but you never know what comes out on the podcast. Anything else? What sort of things do you do away from being a mortgage broker? Anything that excites you and gets you motivated, apart from obviously parenting and mortgage broking?
Oh, I'm going to sound like a right bleeding nerd, but I love steam trains. I love engines. Anything that makes a noise that can build up speed, I'm all for it. But I recently went to Kent actually just to go on Spa Valley. It's not the most amazing steam train day, but it just goes straight up and down. But it was amazing to me, and I got to sit right at the front, and I got to kind of have a little wave at the people in the front, and yeah, it was brilliant. That's my sort of day out. I like to have a bit of food, a couple of drinks in the afternoon. I don't drink alcohol, so it'd be like mocktails or something. And yeah, a good little stroll on the countryside in a steam train. That is my ideal day off. It's very expensive, so I'll go for the cheaper versions in Kent, but that is what makes me very relaxed and happy. But other than that, in Southend, there's a lot to do if you're a tourist and you're not used to it. But for me, the novelty wore off many years ago because I've lived here all my life. So it will be just a case of going down to Adventure Island, just spending time with my daughter in the many parks that we have. I don't have a lot of hobbies. I've lost motivation for a lot of hobbies, but occasionally I'll whack out the older oil pastels and oils and
Oh,
just paint. That's just
okay.
me getting lost into my own little world. It's just painting and stuff. But yeah, I'm quite an introvert, so I like my home. I like to be close to my home, and yeah, if it gets too crowded or too leery, I know that I'm close enough to just walk home. I will just leave a crowd and walk home. I won't even tell anyone that I'm going half the time. I'll just go home.
But that's like that is you, and I love how straight into the podcast you've given a really honest account of yourself straight away and being total transparency, which is just the best way to be. But I love
Mm.
going step back a bit in terms of you saying a bit geeky. I'm not sort of sure that so steam. So it's when you sort of talk about engines and speed, it's the steam thing or cars or any other kind of.
Cars. I love cars. I really, really do.
Yeah,
Tractors,
I can see
trains.
that your eyes lit up.
Yeah, I do love anything like that. But a steam trains just add a little. I'm a massive history fan as well. So when I go on a steam train and say it's one from like 1950s and the decor hasn't changed and it's all that old dark wooden interior, and I sit down and I just think, now how many blokes have come in, lads have come in the morning and they read a newspaper before they go to work? How many ladies have stood there with their little heels on and little petticoats on back, or maybe that's going a bit too far actually, but I just think, how many stories do these carriages tell? What
Yeah.
sort of people stood here? What sort of people sat here? How many coffees were spilled? How many times were people late getting on the wrong train? And yeah, I sit down in a carriage and go into a complete world of my own.
I know, but that's amazing because like that's your release from the mortgage broker world, and probably possibly
Absolutely, yeah.
the thing, Lucy, is that everybody needs that out of somewhere of the outlet, whatever that looks like to them, and that's like interesting because I get what you're saying about like you think about the journeys and the apprehension that people have had being sat in those seats
Yeah.
and what experiences they were going to or what experiences they were getting away from and things like that. So like I said, there's a lot of I understand. I get that with sort of like buildings a lot of the time. I think like what are these walls seeing? What has sort of gone in under this roof kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I understand that. So, but no, Steam is. I'm not a. I'm a car person per se. I am a speed person like you. But then Steam trains, I've just never. I understand them, and that we've got. Yeah, quite. Have you got any sort of aspirations with Steam in terms of where? Like, have you got any goals in terms of wanting to travel on certain kind of train or seeing a certain kind of train or?
I prefer steam trains to diesel, but no, I think it's just because I run out of steam myself a lot. So if I can just sit there and watch someone else fill the steam up, it's better. I don't have any particulars or anything.
Fine. So we know you. We know your way. You're out now in terms of what puts your mind at rest and gets you focused away from mortgages and the rest of it. So
Mm.
so yeah. So thanks for sharing that. So bring it back into sort of the world of mortgage broking. How long have you been a mortgage broker for?
Only 3 years. I say only three
Okay.
years. It feels like bleeding 30. It feels like a decade for each year I complete. But yeah, 3 years ago, I completed all my CMAP, and oh, it's quite. I had quite a rough start. I'm not no victim mentality or anything, but I did. I think I had quite a rather rough start because it was just coming to the end of pandemic, and we had no stamp duty. Neither that had gone for a while to bring up the market. Rates were extremely, quite disgustingly low. Obviously, brilliant for us back then, but now it's quite sickening trying to
Yeah.
jump from that to suddenly 4 point. But yeah, I really struggled. Everything that you learn from CMAP gone. It's nothing like the real world at all, and I kind of struggled a little bit with that. And my nan passed away in January 2021, which is when I'd only passed my CMAP 1 by then, and with her
Right.
passing, it kind of, to keep me occupied, I rammed myself into CMAP 2 and 3 and passed everything that month. So
Right. Right.
there I was, newly freshly qualified, and I didn't actually know what to do with myself, other than I knew that I wanted to be a mortgage mum. I really, really wanted. I don't know if you've heard of the Mortgage Mum with Sarah Tucker. Yeah. I really wanted to join them, and I was part of the training group and everything. And I really had my heart set on it. And it sounds really sad, but I didn't have any other plans to go elsewhere. That was where I wanted to be. And then I had my interview, and I fecked that up majorly because obviously it was literally just 2 weeks after my nan passed that I had the interview with Sarah and Jamie, and I was nervous and I wouldn't stop talking. I didn't quite know what to do with myself, and I thought if I stop talking, I'm going to cry. And I thought it was the best thing for me to go in with them. But then anyway, out of 16 interviews I had, they were the only ones to reject me, which was quite a sticker. And then I found Sue at Southend Mortgages, and she took me on for 2.5 years. And I owe probably nearly my whole career to that lady and Southern Mortgages for their help. They made me who I am today. And in October last year, a new opportunity found me, and I went with Paul Neal at First Choice Financial Services. This is not promotion, by the way. It's no way financial promotion, but I joined Paul in October last year, and I hit the ground running. It's gone a bit quiet at the moment, where rates jumped up and then went down and then jumped back up again, even though inflation was going down. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Sometimes you just got to make that big move, no matter how loyal you feel, no matter how sick you feel doing it. You just have to do that big move if all you could think about is I need to change.
Yeah. And I think, like, say, you can overthink those things as well. And, like, say, obviously, from what you said there, very passionately about your history as a mortgage broker and like who you owe your career to and things like that. It's sort of testament to those individuals, and it's testament being on the podcast talking about those individuals in such a sort of, again, genuine kind of way. So I think, like I said, you've always got to think about yourself. It's always about it's your life, it's your choice, it's your decisions, it's your personality, it's your everything about. And it's sort of difficult sometimes where we always sort of think, oh, we can't do that because we're sort of worried about what other people will think or what other people will say. But sometimes you just got. But I would always sort of say, it's your life. You've got to live it however you want to live it, and it's it is your life, and you are an individual. So, but just going back a little bit in terms of, and apologies for doing this if it is, like I say, you 3 years ago, and a little bit further than that. What made you want to be a mortgage broker? What did you think? What did you wake up one day thinking, I want to let myself into this chaotic roller coaster world of mortgage broking? Or
yeah, I just thought I want to kill myself slowly, so why not? No, I had Simon from Affinity come and do my mortgage back in 2016, I think then. And he made it look so easy. And I just thought, I could do that. Absolutely, I could do that. And then I completely lost the balls to do it. So it wasn't until a few years later that I actually approached him and said, look, what does it entail? Do you still love it? Is it a rewarding job? Because all I want to do is just help people and have a rewarding job, not just sit at a desk 9 to 5, and it gets me absolutely nowhere and I don't feel like I'm helping anybody. And he returned my emails, and it was kind of his words that spurred me on a bit more. But the main thing that made me even email him in the first place was Leasehold. So you may have seen me rabbited on LinkedIn and socials about Leasehold. Not an advocate at all. I can't stand the tenure, but it was that kind of made me think I'm stuck in this loophole because nobody advised me any different. My ground rent went up within less than a year as well. So I got one bill, and then a month later I got another bill. And when I questioned it, they said, oh no, your ground rent's doubled, you're now 500, which outside of London is extortionate. And it then dropped my property value as well. So with that, it was... So I think it was priced at really zero, because not even lenders would look at it with a £500 ground rent outside of London. So that kind of spurred me on to say, no, actually, I want to help people. I don't want to sit here and watch other people fall in the net that I've just fallen into. If I can just tell one person a month what Leasehold is and save them from going through what I've gone through, that would be brilliant. And I've done more than one person now. So in the last 3 years, I've probably helped about 20. And especially shared ownership, when they're coming to me and I'm saying, well, did you know that you can actually put that 5% deposit down and get 95% and affordability is there? So you don't have to go into shared ownership. There are other ways and other mortgage schemes as well that we could put you with if you're eligible. I think leasehold and shared ownership down South Essex. I don't know where you're from.
I'm originally from Sheffield, but live sort of Cumbria way now. So a bit
All
further.
right, so you wouldn't know. No, Essex is it's like London prices. The Starbucks, the McDonald's, the properties, estate agent, everything is like London prices. So, for instance, I went for a walk in Lee not yesterday, day before, and there were flats going up for over £500,000. And they sell as well. They sell. So could you imagine trying to reach affordability and then you're still stuck? You've got that mortgage completed, but it's a leasehold. So you've still got ground rent to pay. You've still got service charge to pay. You've basically paid over over £500,000 for a piece of paper to say that you can live there for so many years. I mean, I know where I'd rather put my money, and it isn't into a property like that.
Yeah, no, exactly, Lucy. I mean, clearly you sort of, I think it's such an inspiration from what you wanting to get into the industry based on your experience of not wanting other people to experience the same, and the challenges as
Yeah.
you face is a massive thing. That is such a inspirational thing to talk about and sort of take. What better way to do something like, clearly you feel passionate about it now. You can still see that obviously you're still now several years on that you're still doing this, and you've had some wins recently. That, am I okay to talk about that? Are you okay to share that? You've had a few wins recently in terms of leasehold stuff.
The reform.
Yeah.
The reform act, finally gained royal assent. So this is, do you know, if you wasn't going to bring it up, I was anyway, because it's coming out like verbal bloody vomit.
I knew you was going to, but it's absolutely fine. Sorry, I beat you to it.
You did. It's brilliant. So yeah, we've gained royal assent finally, and it's now law. Whether it's going to take their time to actually implement the law, I don't know, because obviously things aren't going to change overnight. There are hundreds, thousands of freeholders that are going to be happy with it, but it's one step forward for us leaseholders. It's the fight hasn't been for nothing. We finally got somewhere. It's not the best. Ground rent cap wasn't mentioned, which was promised in Parliament that it was going to be mentioned, but it wasn't. They backed out of that last moment. But other than that, it's reward. It's reward. You know, it's been a fight for many, many years. NLC has been going on for about 8 years now. 2016, I believe they started. So it's, if I just got my maths wrong, that's incredibly embarrassing. So we'll have to think about that and edit it later. Yeah, so to get that was just a massive win. We haven't won the complete fight yet. That's only solving half the problems. There are a lot more to go, especially with shared ownership, especially with retirement homes, because they also have extortionate charges as well, and they're not as protected neither. So yeah, there's a lot more work to do, but we got royal assent.
Yeah,
it is finally passed the law.
But is that like the first, in your eyes, the first? It's not the end goal by the sounds of it. It's just the first step in terms of the process that you are going through.
Yeah, so it's taken us 8 years to get here, and obviously every year in the Parliament they speak about a reform coming, and then a day comes and it's never even mentioned. It's never spoken about. So we all get a little disheartened, and it definitely plummets the fight a bit down. It dampens our spirits a little bit. But when you've got things like this that happen, and obviously everything that we fought for has worked, it's like euphoria. It's an absolute amazing feeling, and we all owe it down to Katie, Kathy and Joe at the National Leasehold campaign as well. I've mentioned them in previous podcasts that I was in, but we really do owe a lot to these three women who have gone through leasehold themselves. I don't believe any of them are leaseholders anymore. I think they managed to buy their freeholds or moved out, but they still continued with the fight because they can see how barbaric the system is. It's not working. I mean, people like to think that it has worked for so many years, but it's not. It's cost homeowners, I say homeowners, a lot of money that shouldn't have cost them, because if you buy a house on freehold, you move in, that's it. You've got no charges. It's your home. You can do as you please. Leasehold isn't anything like that. You're still basically being told what to do, when to do it, what colour to paint your front door and everything. And it's very old and outdated, and it needs to go.
I think like it's just you clearly about education and about educating buyers that could potentially get caught up in the same situation that you have, and you are passionate about that. And I think because if you don't know about, and you're just in that euphoria of getting your first home, buying your first home, getting your mortgage agreed, getting the offer sorted out, going through the solicitors and all those kind of things, and then you just see something like, okay, well, this is something, it's leasehold, and you've got to pay this charge every single year. You're focusing on the end goal, which is your home. So there is certain things you'll not pay too much attention to. Whereas what you were doing is making sure that they are aware. Like, there are obviously, you want to get rid of the whole thing. You go a little bit away from that, which you've been honest about that. But it's about educating the people that are buying the homes, the realization that this is not quite. This is what this means. Obviously, they understand that, oh, this is freehold, this is leasehold, but it's what does
No, a
that
lot of them
change?
don't understand that though.
Which is probably fair enough. Then I think they
Yeah.
understand. They don't understand the difference with it. They might hear the words, but then they don't understand the differences, and then what the consequences are of the leasehold. Which is great that you are trying to educate those buyers at that key moment, really.
Yeah, so I think that was the problem with me, is that my conveyancer didn't make me aware. My broker didn't make me aware. The estate agent had no clue neither. So I think it's obviously there's a triangle, isn't there? Like the conveyancers, solicitors, conveyancers, estate agents, brokers. We all need to work together, and we all need to be making sure that the client is absolutely well aware. I mean, that's the whole point of making a well-informed decision, is that they know what they're making that decision on. A lot of us didn't, because our conveyancer let us down. Now, I'm not bashing conveyancers in no way. I've had a fantastic conveyancer, Ruby at Woodstock Legal, who done my deed variation last year. She was fantastic. So I'm not bashing conveyancers at all. It's a really hard job, and it's not one that I could do. However, I do think that a lot of them either purposely didn't mention it, because obviously no one's going to buy that property then, or some of them just they don't quite understand it themselves as well, especially if they've just started, just how in-depth and full of jargon a lease actually is. And I do appreciate how long the leases go through to get all the information, and it can delay a mortgage application as well, because there's a lot of questions that come with each lease. But yeah, I just feel like if we could all just boost up our knowledge on it, make others aware of it, and then I don't think it's going to plummet the market at all. If some person won't buy it, another person will. Another person may understand what they can do, and they maybe even got the cash to extend the lease, therefore making it a virtual freehold. I hate that saying. It's absolutely pointless, but to them, if they've got the cash, they can make it a virtual freehold, which means getting rid of ground rent and putting it down to peppercorn. So for them, it's brilliant. But for us who haven't got that extra cash and weren't made aware, this is what I'm here for. I feel like I do my job quite well in making other people aware of what they're buying and how long they're buying it for, because a lot of people just think, oh, I know it's not the land I'm buying, it's just a property. It's not even the property. You're literally just buying a piece of paper. And like you said, when you're a first-time buyer, you're excited, you're completing, you get the keys, you have no idea what you've just stepped into.
No, and like I say, you'll not be. There's so much going on when you're buying a home. There's so much going on with legal jargon, and like I say, it's down to professionals to point this out.
Yeah.
Of the consequence of certain things, of certain key things with regards to buying the property. So, and I think it's just commendable for you that it's. I think the thing is with it, Lucy, is that it's not about just educating the clients and the people, like the 20-something people that you've already helped and educated from that point of view, which is amazing. They say focus on one, and you've helped far more than that. But I think it's also as well about educating brokers to making sure that their clients are aware of exactly what it is they are not letting themselves in for, because that's hard. That sounds too much harder sentence, but just being aware of what that means to them. At the end of the day, it's their choice. If
Mm.
they still choose to buy that home, that's their choice. All you're there to do is making sure that they're aware of what the consequences are and what that means.
Oh
But
yeah,
they can still
definitely. If I've made them aware and they've still gone ahead, I've done my job. I'm perfectly happy. In fact, I'm more than happy to help them through to the last bit. But I've done my job in making them aware. They're well informed. Therefore, no complaint can come back to me in 5, 10 years' time and say she didn't actually tell me what I was buying. And I save the emails as well. I always do it by email, and I will save those emails and I will upload them if I have to as well, just so no complaint ever comes back to me.
That's best way to be. Absolutely best way to be.
Extra
So in terms
compliant.
of what's like the next, obviously you've had the big win recently. What's the next step for you in terms of this the reform?
I'm not quite sure. There's so many bits that we need to sort out, including bringing, I mean, most of us want common hold to come in, but again, I don't even know if I'd ever see that in my lifetime, to be honest. It's dragging quite a lot, but definitely ground rent needs to be capped, or even all ground rent made to peppercorn, which is going to annoy the freeholders because they're going to be losing out on money, and it's an investment to them. Our home is their investment, which is, again, horrible to say. That is the reality, though, is that my house right now, my flat right now, is somebody's investment. This could be their pension pot, and I hate thinking of it like that. Whereas I can't include this flat into my future because my lease will run down eventually. I won't be here forever. I fully intend to move out in the next few years, but yeah, you can't include your leasehold property in your future. You have no idea what's going to go. So I've got the question, if I'm honest, Craig.
What's that the future for the? No, it's fine. No,
Oh yes, the reform. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
no,
happy on and on and on.
but that's great, Lucy, because it shows you how passionate you are. And I do that all the time. I certain things and I go, does that actually answer your question? I don't think it does, but anyway, you don't understand my point of view. But no, so the question was just what's next? You've obviously achieved what you've achieved so far, and it's taken quite a period of time. But then you did answer because you said, you're not quite sure what is like the next for
The ground
you
rent
in
needs to
terms
be
of what you're trying
sorted.
to
The
do.
service
Yeah,
charges need to be sorted. Freeholders need to be brought up to account as well for, even maintenance companies need to be brought into account for charging people and not actually giving those services as well. I myself have a fantastic maintenance company. They're here every week. They definitely get we get our money's worth with them, absolutely. But there are loads of companies that don't, and then the residents having to go out and cut all the bushes. They're having to clean the windows, all the stuff that maintenance companies should be doing. They're having to get quotes in for drain repairs and stuff, but then they've got no sinking fund either because the maintenance company haven't even put their money into a sinking fund. So then they're having to pay out their own money as well. There's a lot that needs to be improved with management companies. They need to be a lot more transparent, which the bills are now being a lot more transparent. That is part of the new reform and the law. But like any company, when something doesn't go your way, they'll probably find a loophole to get around a few things, which is why we need to keep on fighting.
yeah. Well, I think once you've got you've got the momentum now, it's about keeping that going until, like I say, keep fighting and sort of trying to change the whole system really. But at least you've got the first win, shall we say, under your belt, and it's just keeping that going.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope it does keep going, to be honest. It was absolutely just I would have actually posted it on Friday, but I was really, really busy. So posting it yesterday, was yesterday or Monday? I can't remember when I posted it. But
I think it
yeah,
was
it felt good to let others know. It felt, because you see me moaning about leasehold a lot, and I do it for a reason. And this is that reason, because we needed this reform, and it's worked.
It was yesterday. It has worked, like I say. It
Yeah.
was yesterday when we posted about it. It was on Tuesday. So thanks for being totally honest and very passionate about sort of that. There's just a few other thoughts I wanted to, if we could sort of pull it back into mortgage broking. But I love actually that you trust me with no agenda. We knew we were going to look at, and we've gone into. I thought we might, and it was my fault because I brought it up before, kind of thing. So yeah, but I just wanted to. There's just a couple of things that I just need to understand in terms of where you're at, because there's quite a few things that you sort of shared, and you sort of said you had a tough time at various points and things like that. So when you sort of got into mortgage broking, were you straight into self-employed, or was that employed at the time? So when you were going for your interviews and what you were doing, were you looking purely at employed or self-employed, or where was your head at?
I'm self-employed. I was looking for self-employed, and I have been self-employed ever since. It's hard. It doesn't come without its hardships, but the flexibility is worth it. You know, I get to do the school run without having to ask a manager if I can pop out quickly, and then I get to come home with my child rather than passing her over to a childminder. You know, there's all these things that as a parent, self-employed is sort of the only option, I suppose, that we have. If we're offered it, it's the only option we've got to go with. Employed just wouldn't work with me.
Okay. I know that's just interesting to hear whether that was always part, because you're not only learning a new industry, but then you're also dealing with the self-employment aspect of it as well. And just interested to sort of get your take on where you was at that point and why you've gone straight into self-employed. I think that's the best way to do it. And you've just had to get on with it and make it work and make it stick with the challenges that you face. But I think, like I say, I'm getting that sort of like if you went employed, I don't know whether you'd sort of be enjoying being a mortgage broker if you were in that employed in the corporate world of being told what to do, when to do it. And like you said, feeling guilty of, I need to go and pick my daughter up from school, I need to do that. It's that guilt aspect of that as well, as where you've got the cap in hand of sort of, please can I do this and please can I do that, which is yeah. Do you think you'll ever be employed? Do you think you could ever be employed?
No. No. No, I don't like being told what to do, when to do it. And I don't like being watched over neither. I don't, you know, the whole point of a manager coming through every now and then just to see what we're all doing. I don't know. That doesn't sit very well. No, I've got away with it for too long now. I've adjusted very well in my role, and I get to just work on my own. I like my own solitude. I enjoy my own solitude. So I just, I work on my own. I get stuck in my little zone.
I think, but like the thing is, you're just worrying about yourself and your business. You're not worried about what somebody else is thinking, saying, doing, happening behind your back, kind of thing. It's literally you're in control of. You are in control of something that you can control. It's which is the important aspect of it, and you've got that freedom, and you're not worried about and second guessing and everything else, and the insecure. I think somebody said to me the other day, which I've said so many times, I like the security of being employed. It's like, what? Why is that? Why does employment give you security? So yes, you're going to get paid at the end of that month, but that's about as much security as you've got. That you don't know how long your income's going to be there for. Whereas what you're doing by you being self-employed, at least you're in charge of your own income, and you know what you need to be doing to your actions will generate income. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Whereas you certainly, that's the case. So straight into self-employed mortgage broking. Have you always sort of traded under somebody? It's always been under somebody else's trading style?
Yeah, I haven't got the bollocks to go on my own. Sorry, I haven't got the balls to go. I can't do it on my own. No, I need to trade under. I did actually think about it last year. I did think about, like, could I do it on my own? And I did speak to family and friends, and they were like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. That's the worst thing that you could do, is ask people's opinion, because then I felt like, oh no, if I don't do it now, I'm going to be a failure. And then Paul came along just at the right time, and I just thought, you know what, I've known him for a couple of years. He's a fantastic broker. There's a lot of, I think, I'm going to say selfish brokers who don't like to help out. They don't like talking to other brokers. They think you're competition from the get on. But Paul has helped me for the last couple of years with, as soon as I started, basically. He was one of the first brokers that I kind of clicked with on LinkedIn. And so his opportunity came at the right time. And I just thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to umbrella it. I'm just going to trade under someone else's company. He can take all the financial strain and the compliance sizzle. And I'm just going to relax in my little electric boat while he powers on. I couldn't do it. It takes a strong person to deal with all of that, and mortgage advising as well. So I'm here whenever he needs me. We work very well together. We talk about the company together, but financially wise, I have no idea what's going on, and I don't want to. I know my lane, and I stick in it.
No, and that's really, it's like I say, because there is a lot of I don't even know what word I could use, but in terms of the abundance mindset is not always with everybody in terms of particularly mortgage broking. People see each other as competition, which is not. I never really see that as the case. It's all we can always help each other and support each other because there is enough to go around. There is absolutely enough.
Yeah.
So when you've got somebody that has that mindset, then it's just a different culture. It's a totally different setup of a firm generally when somebody has got that kind of mindset, which is fairly unique. Like you say, there's not many people that you come across in the industry that are. There's certainly people that will help and support you, absolutely. But in terms from running a
Mm.
business point of view, having that abundance mindset is key to. And like you say, you know your lane, you know what, and you're enjoying that, which clearly that you are.
I am, yeah. I think there's two lots of brokers really. I think you've got the compassionate ones who know how hard it is and they're there for another one. They want to build up their person, which is me. I've built up a good I don't want to say it, but little click on LinkedIn. I've got my brokers who I go to for help, who I go through to for support, and then you've got the other ones who don't want you contacting them, don't want to help you. And then they'll do a post afterwards and be like, so I've just been contacted by another broker who's asked for help. The audacity of this person. And it's like, why can't we just help each other? There's no way I would ever put another broker down or anything. If anything, I have helped brokers, and I think it's a bit of, I scratch your back, you scratch mine sort of thing. I wouldn't say that people just take because that is taking the piss a bit, but yeah, I think we all need to support each other. We need that community. We don't need any of the selfishness. We don't need any of the sort of old school bullying, not bullying, but segregation, like division. Do you know what I mean? We don't need any of that. Our job's hard enough as it is. If we could just get the support from another person, it means the world to me when another broker helps me out or even comes back to a reply of mine, and I'll always do the same back.
I think that it is important, Lucy, because I do see it, like you see it on the Facebook groups, you see it in various, like in wherever social media platform you want to look at. It's sort of we are here to help and support each other. That's what we need to do. Like I said, there is plenty to go around. If somebody doesn't feel that's the case, that's fine. That's up to them. And if you reach out to somebody and they don't want to help, then that's fine. That is their choice. What is an interesting choice is then to go onto social media and explain to the world that they're not happy about another broker reaching out to them to help and support, which I've seen, like we see time and time again. And that's again
Yeah.
an interesting choice to make in terms of them and their life and where they're at really in terms of as a broker, in terms of what their values are and what their and like I say, that's not me because we see it. You've seen it. I've seen it time and time again. I just don't think that, and that there is a place for them. That's absolutely fine. And there's WhatsApp groups that I know about which has got a lot of sort of different sort of outlooks in life for certain people, which feel as though they need to be those. I hate the word keyboard warrior, but do you know what I mean? It's those kind of things which
Yeah.
they make them feel better about putting other people down. Well, that's not and that's if that's their choice and that's what they want to do, then that's up to them. But you're right. I think it's about you. We will need to be able to feel that we can reach out and support you. That's the whole point of the podcast. The podcast is not about me sort of like what I do or anything like that. It's about helping other brokers that reach out to me, say thank you so much for doing the podcast, because it's just helped me in becoming a broker, being a broker. And it's just about like the feedback is I enjoy listening to other brokers talking about their experiences, their challenges, what they face, but having that same abundance mindset. There's a broker that I work with, and he's like you said, the reason why he reached out to me and we worked together was the fact that I used the word abundance mindset, and it's like because that's one of the things that he values, and I think that's it. It's just if you are a new broker in the industry, or you are in the industry and you are struggling, there are people out there that will help and support you. There are people that you can reach out to that will give you just that encouragement, just that motivation to actually keep going. You're on the right path. Keep doing it because you're self-employed. You've got to have a certain amount of self-motivation. Absolutely, but we're
Mm.
all going to go through. We all go through days, don't we, where we're thinking, "Why am I doing this? Why am I doing
Yes.
this?"
Yes. God,
We'll
I
do it.
have had many of them moments. I've had them weeks, months even, where I just think, can I keep doing this? What is the point in keep on doing this? And the proc fees are very stupid amount now. I'm just going to go out there and say the proc fees need to be readjusted because they are abysmal. So it makes it harder that we're paid crap. We go through a lot of crap as well with trying to get applications through, and they're really, really, really hard applications as well. So just reaching out to another broker just to slag off the world, not slag
Yeah,
off our career because obviously we're all in it because we love it. I am, but just to have a good, I think every now and then we need a good moan sesh,
yeah,
just to let everything off our chest and that. And doing that with someone who is also in the same profession and knows what you're going through, it just hits different. Moaning to someone who doesn't know what you're on about, it just is like moaning to a brick wall. But moaning to someone who does know exactly what you're going through hits completely different, and then you come back more motivated because you know that you're not alone in that same boat neither.
definitely, absolutely. And funnily enough, as part of my business, we've got a help WhatsApp group. So every broker that's part of the business, quite a number of brokers on there, they all sort of they've got the help one, but then we've also got I've now labelled it not help. Or I labelled it quite some time ago now because it's just vent. It's just I used to call it vent because then,
Yeah.
like you say, you just want to get it. People are that way. Like we just need to get it off your chest.
Mm.
You're not looking for a response or an answer per se, but you're just somebody and people will respond on there. But just knowing that you convince somebody who gets it that the lenders decided at 4 o'clock that they're going to change the rates tomorrow, and they just let you know, and then the systems sort of have a bit of a meltdown and the rest of it. So just those things, the daily challenges of being a broker. A lot of industries and a lot of occupations have challenges, but then, like I
Yeah.
say, we know it firsthand from being a broker point of view that the challenges that brokers face from it, and again, and it's heightened because, as we know, buying and selling a house is one of the top three most stressful thing people do in their lives. So when you've got that heightened stress, you need somebody on your side, which is you to that. But then you then take on that, you shoulder that responsibility because
Yes.
you want to give a good service to your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I think that's probably the only negative side of this career that we could probably all agree on is that we do take on far too much stress. It's our job too, don't get me wrong. We're here to take the stress off a client, but sometimes, especially when we've got our own life issues to deal with as well, which we should be leaving at the end of the table, whatever it is, we should be leaving it there and not bringing it into our work. But sometimes it's just hard when you're self-employed, so you're dealing with that aspect, and then you're dealing with your home life, and then you're dealing with all your clients shizzle as well. There's only so much that one human can take every now and then. So even just like you say, a WhatsApp group, just to moan and vent off is brilliant. I can vent off to Paul whenever I like it. We vent off. We call each other. We vent off, and then at the end, there's that mutual support that I think we need. We encourage each other, we motivate each other. There's that support at the end, and we just feel like we've got it off our chest now. Feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I can actually just crack on to work now, just like nothing had even happened. I feel like I can crack on. But yeah, the stress is I think the only negative thing actually about this career.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, you are when you come out the other side and you get the responses from the clients and the feedback and the thank you cards, thank you gifts, all those different things
Mm-hmm.
that the reviews that brokers get are obviously down to managing what is a stressful situation for everybody. And,
Yeah,
and the thing is, you will get everything because you are that kind of broker where clients have got your mobile number, they'll ring you, they'll message you, they'll WhatsApp you, whereas maybe they can't get a hold of this stage, and when they certainly can't get hold of the conveyancer. I know you've promoted conveyance a little bit, but just in terms of from a client point of view, not being able to get a hold of a solicitor, but then they can get hold of you, then they'll ring you to complain about the solicitor. So again, you then take on the whole buying process for your clients because you've got those because you're accessible, because
yeah,
because that's the service you want to provide for your clients, which then has like I said, the negative aspect of it kind of thing, which is but then it's how you again get that vent out and then feel motivated again and keep going.
It's only very slight little bursts of stress, though. It's not like it's going to last a whole day or two from one client. It's little bursts, like you're about to put the application through and suddenly they're not getting back to you. You just want one thing answered and it's been like a week and you've got nothing. God, that really gets my stress levels up because I've just worked my butt off to get all this done for you. And now for some reason you're ignoring me. Oh, sorry, we're on a holiday. So why would you go on holiday when you just put it for a bloody mortgage? Anyway, I'm here for it. And I'm always just like, oh, okay, well, the email's a thing, but whatever. So we're going to put it through now. But yeah, that stress, that's the only one that will last about a week. And that's when I think I need one of those WhatsApp messages, one of those WhatsApp groups just to unlash it all. And it's a very rewarding career. And even 3 years ago when I came into it, I knew that it was something I wanted to do long term, not just dip my toes in and try it out. I knew that once I was in, I was going to be in for a very long time, and I have been, and I hope to God that I'll be in here for another 10, 20 odd years. I hope that it's not going to be as hard and the rates will stable eventually, but yeah, I love it.
Good. But you're loving it is the main thing. Like, so you're seeing this as a long-term thing. So in terms of, just to finish on then, Lucy, in terms of future, you're okay in your lane, you've got no like in terms of anything else sort of financial advising or anything else in terms of looking, you're okay doing what you're doing, cracking on with the leasehold reform that you're passionate about, and just delivering a good service for your clients. Is that what the future looks like for you?
At the moment, yeah, I've got no interest in pensions. It stresses me out. I've got a pension advisor that I have for all of that, and I refer people to him because it's another thing that I don't know enough about. And when I try to learn about it, I just think, well, it's nothing like mortgages, and mortgages is where I'm sitting at. That's where my love is, not investments and everything else. So I'm not into financial advice at the moment, no. And I don't intend to make my own company. I'm pretty just vanilla. I'm a vanilla broker.
No, you're not. You're very passionate, but you're not a vanilla broker, Lucy. I think you've been a bit harsh on yourself
Vanilla with
there.
sprinkles.
Feedback. You are, but you are. Like I say, you are. It's not vanilla. It's you delivering a good service for your client. You care about it. You're passionate about what what you need to achieve for your clients. And the good thing is you've got your outlay which is your outlet and your release with your steam engine. So it all works.
Yeah, I let off my steam watching a steam engine.
Yeah. So that's your aspirations for the future. Let enough steam to power a steam engine. That's the thing.
There you go. That's my future. I'm going to drive one day. I'm going to be up there at the front one day. I'm going to video it and everything. That's what I'm aiming for.
That's your goal. That's what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
Lucy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast. Thank you for trusting me with no agenda, just having a chat about you and your background and what more about you and your world. So thank you so much for coming on and also as well being very honest and transparent, which is, I just absolutely love recording this podcast, as I know would be, because seeing you on social media, I know you're a very open, honest person. So great guest for a podcast, and thanks for agreeing to finally come on to the podcast.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for finally agreeing to come onto the podcast and being totally honest. And it was great podcast to record. You trusted me with having no agenda. And it was just, I loved how you gave very honest answers, got very passionate about certain things. And it was a great podcast to record. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Any comments, thoughts, feedback on the podcast, please leave it on whatever platform you listen to the podcast or watch it onto. And if you can, do a review on whichever platform, that would be amazing. I really appreciate that, because the more brokers we can get the podcast out to, the more brokers it can help, then that would be amazing. So please do what you can from that point of view. Any suggestions for guests on the podcast, please let me know. And like I say, I've also now got the new podcast, which is coming out, The Morning Mindset, which I'll tag into the topic on this and in terms of the post on this podcast as well. So if you can subscribe to the new podcast daily, 5 days a week, focusing on a mindset, but I'll not go into too much detail about that. Have a look at the podcast. That's on YouTube, and on normal social media platforms, as well as normal podcast platforms as well. And if you are considering becoming a self-employed mortgage broker, looking to start your own mortgage broker brand and business, or looking to accelerate your growth of your existing mortgage broker brand and business, please see my website, craigskelton.co.uk. Explains more in terms of how you and I can work together and how I can help you with your next steps, with your journey, and achieving what you want to achieve in your business. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, don't forget to run your own race.